Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from April, and here's her story. My parents both have varying degrees of personality disorders and have damaged me. I've been working on detaching from them emotionally and have gained enlightenment through your channels, so I don't engage in their unhealthy behaviors. With that said, I don't go no contact because of my older half-brother who is autistic and lives with them. His father is dead and my brother has no one else to look after him when my parents are gone. So I stay around for him. Oh, okay, so he's your half-brother. The crisis at hand is my father who has Alzheimer's. Can you imagine that? A narcissist with Alzheimer's. It doesn't get much worse. My father has always been a bit weird, but basically harmless. He was never a drinker, didn't abuse drugs, didn't cheat on my mom, never broke the law, was never physically or sexually abusive or anything like that. Just likes to watch sports, feed the birds, mow his lawn, and basically live the quiet life. Sure, he's been controlling and manipulative for decades, but now I know that was just the narcissism. Once I learned about narcissism, I could learn to retrain myself not to be affected mentally or emotionally. It's like I have this mental shield that protects me. This shield protects me from being hurt by anyone and has served me well these past few years. Well, you got to make sure, April, that your shield isn't actual. What you think is a shield isn't blinders to the truth. I also, April's been on my channel for a while. I talked to April as well yesterday on a phone call, so I know the ins and outs of this story already. But she wanted it read on the channel as well because she feels it could help some other people. But I didn't know your brother was your half brother. I didn't realize he had a different father. But the Alzheimer's has added a whole new level of hell to the situation. He was officially diagnosed 2 years ago, but refuses to accept the diagnosis and won't take medication. Oh, you didn't tell me that. We now know that he probably had Alzheimer's for many years, but we didn't notice because his thoughts and behaviors have always been kind of weird. I would describe him as being rather flaky, but we all just adapted. However, his condition is getting worse, and he's been engaging in unsavory behaviors that have never been a part of who he was. Sadly, this is typical of Alzheimer's patients. Last year, he went to a bar by himself, got drunk, and the staff decided to drive him in his car back to the house. He's never done that before. My mom told me he's been visiting hardcore porn sites and infecting their computer with viruses. He's prone to fits of rage and verbally abuses my brother and sometimes my mom and I. I won't let him around my cousin's kids because he's so unpredictable and I don't know what he'll say. He has no filter and can't follow a conversation. His thoughts and expressions make no sense. He can't think of the correct words and uses hand gestures to communicate. It's like playing charades to try to have a conversation with him. His visual perception is off and he sees things that aren't there. Driving in the car with him is a nightmare because he's terrified I'll hit someone, and his constant shouting and distracting is irritating. I begged him just to close his eyes and trust me with the driving, but he can't help himself, and sometimes I have to pull over and take a breath. He thinks cars are closer than they really are because he doesn't understand that what he sees isn't real. He doesn't drive in the winter by choice because he has a really nice car and he only drives it in the spring and summer. We are freaking out because he's asking for his car and we don't think he should drive, so you don't give it to him. And what I told you yesterday is you control all of this. You control all of this. You can take his license, you can cut off his accounts, you can put locks on the computer. You guys control all of this. My brother says he has road rage and flips people off. He's even followed people with my brother in the car. He is susceptible to solicitations through the regular mail, email, and phone, and is constantly giving away their money to scammers and has been a victim of credit card fraud. My mom is constantly screening the mail, email, and phone, but she does work and can't be there to intercept every single time. And what we discovered is, by talking to April, is April's mom doesn't need to work. She works because she needs a quote-unquote break from her father. See, what April's being set up is April's being set up to be the fall guy. He's 71, she's 69. He's up to stage 4, stage 5 Alzheimer's. It's time for her to step up, and she doesn't want to do it because her mother's a giant child. And that's where April's blinders come in. He constantly wants to waste money on silly things like he'll never use, like a golf club membership. He can't even lift a gallon of milk. He's old, frail, and about 100 pounds overweight because he's addicted to sugar. As all of this wasn't bad enough, he's now joined the NRA. They sent an advertisement in the mail, which they have every right to do, but he is signed up and is now talking about buying guns, which I told you he will never get. An NRA membership is a political action committee. An NRA, it doesn't entitle you to any easier to buy guns. It doesn't. This is the same guy who couldn't figure out how to write a check just the other day, but somehow figured out how to sign up for the NRA. My mom called me this morning to tell me about this, and now we're freaking out. He has no record and will pass the background check for a gun permit, and we have no idea what to do about this. I looked up the permit process in my state of Massachusetts, and the only rejection criteria for mental illness is if there is a record of hospitalization, which there is not in this case. Only a diagnosis from a doctor, and I don't see anything in the law requiring the permitting authorities to check with the applicant's physician for mental status. Until he breaks the law, it appears there's nothing we can do. We're terrified he could harm himself or others because of his mental disease. He's not capable of appreciating that actions have consequences or understanding the responsibilities and liabilities that go along with being a gun owner. He's like a child who wants a new toy and doesn't understand what all the fuss is about. Right, because he's regressing because of the Alzheimer's. This isn't an anti-gun thing with me, and I'm not blaming the NRA for soliciting. I just wish they would have a basic mental health screening process before granting people memberships to their club. My uncle has guns, but he has all his marbles, and I don't worry that he'll freak out and shoot someone. My dad has never fired a gun in his life or expressed any interest in guns, so I know it's the Alzheimer's driving this and not a love of the Second Amendment. My mom is seeing her therapist tonight and is going to ask for guidance. My fear is there is absolutely nothing legally we can do to stop him, and the law can't stop him until he hurts someone. And herein lies the problem that we discovered yesterday. Her mother is seeing her own therapist to find out what to do about it. Why is her mother not calling his primary care physician who diagnosed him with the Alzheimer's? Because the mother doesn't know anything about it, and neither does April. They're guessing. Why? Because her mother's a giant child that doesn't want to take responsibility for anything. She's using guilt, as she has used April's entire life, to sucker April in to taking care of her husband for her. April doesn't even know who his doctor is. She wasn't even sure. She's like, yeah, I think my mom will tell me if I ask her. Well, without talking to the primary care physician, you're in the dark. Without him, he's the key to all of this. And I told you that yesterday, April. And you're accepting that your mother's going to see her therapist so she can deal, because dealing with somebody with Alzheimer's is very triggering and hard. But she's not dealing with her, she's making it about herself. She's using guilt to sucker you in. So what you think is your shield against your parents is really your blinders. They're blinders. And you said that your mother's been doing this to you your entire life. She's going to talk to her therapist about what to do about her husband with Alzheimer's buying guns. The first person she should be talking to is his doctor. But she doesn't want to take the responsibility. You said yourself, she doesn't need to work. She does it because she needs a break from your father. Well, sorry, that's not how this works. She needs a break so he can go to the mailbox and join the NRA and be on porn sites. All these things you named are all things that could be stopped by somebody being there with him. Now, if she's not going to do it, then you might have to hire a home health aide to help him, to watch him. But you're not going to get anywhere till you talk to the doctor. Now I'm wishing she had just bought him those stupid golf clubs. She told me she can't even divorce him because he's been diagnosed with a mental disease. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she told me. So she wants out. So there you go. You didn't even tell me this yesterday. There you go, April. I mean, take your fucking blinders off. He has Alzheimer's and she's talking about divorcing him, she wants no part of it. Take your blinders off. You didn't tell me that. "69 years old, 71. He's 71. They've been together forever. Now she's talking about she can't divorce him because he has a mental disease. What a selfish bitch. And you let this woman torque you up on this phone? Like I don't even know if half of this could still be true. Really, honestly. All of this is a manipulation, April. You got to take your blinders off. The thing about Alzheimer's, though, is that he does forget things and often doesn't follow through when he gets crazy ideas. I'm sure this is all true about the Alzheimer's. Your mother is so selfish and narcissistic. She wants no part of it. She's looked into fucking leaving. No wonder she's not talking to his doctor. She don't give a fuck. It's all about her. We're hoping he forgets the scary nonsense or can't figure out how to fill out the paperwork for the gun permit. But we know we need to prepare in case he goes further than just an NRA membership. No, you just need to make sure he can't go anywhere on his own or put him in a facility. But you need to talk to his doctor because your mother is such a selfish, self-entitled bitch. Jesus. Blinders, April. Blinders. You're not carrying a shield. You're wearing blinders. The narcissist makes you think you're carrying a shield when you're really wearing blinders. I don't know if you have any words of advice for me, but I know you know your way around the legal system, and I'm hoping you can provide some guidance. Without talking to the doctor, there's nothing. That is it, and I told you that yesterday. It's okay if you can. I know this situation is a box of dynamite, so I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to get near this one. I just don't know where to start in terms of getting the authorities involved if that's what it takes to prevent a catastrophe. It's one thing when it's just about foolish spending or inappropriate behavior. We've been able to contain the situation so far. But knowing you could be getting behind the wheel or buy a gun and do some real fucking damage is going to make me lose some sleep at night for sure. Damn, that was a heavy load I just dumped on you, Ollie. I'm sorry if this freaks you out, but I don't know where else to turn, and I don't want to overreact and start calling the authorities and open a real can of worms. Calling the authorities is, you got to talk to his doctor. And then you got to talk about who's going to get legal guardianship. Somebody's got to get legal guardianship, but you're not going to be able to do that till you talk to his doctor. Cop can't diagnose him. Police can't diagnose him. EMS can't diagnose him. If he's acting erratically, you can call and maybe get him Baker acted at that point. But your problem is, well, I'm almost at the end here. I know it's best not to act in the moment and better take time to reflect on things, but the situation could get really bad pretty fast if we don't do something to stop him. I'm in a bad way at the moment. And I know I just need to breathe. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, April. The problem's your mother. You're in a bad way because your mother refuses to take responsibility. Your mother wants a divorce when you're worried about primary care, and your mother's thing is she's looking to get a divorce, and she's not talking to his doctor. She's got her own doctor to deal with his condition. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You got to take your blinders off, April. You're not carrying a shield. You're wearing blinders. And I told you, yeah, same advice as yesterday. You need to talk to his primary care. Tell him what's going on and hear what the deal is, and then he will guide you with options for guardianship and what to do and taking his license and all that. Your mother doesn't need to work. She should be in the house with him. Somebody needs to watch him. There's no leaving him alone anymore, and you need to tell your mother that. But all she's trying to do, April, is scare you, sucker you in to do what she doesn't want to do. Take your blinders off. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and story, April. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.